Everybody, video here for you today. I think I might do a couple request videos today, kind of sidelining the research, taking a step back. You can't overload your mind with too much information, and I researched a lot of stuff over the last 45 days or so, just kind of taking a break from the research and the longer videos, but I will answer a couple questions here. Last video, I had one. I just learned about these giant ancient chalk horses on the sides of the hills in Britain. I would love for you to do a video on them. Can't find any on YouTube. And I did a video on the Cerne Abbas Giant about 3 or 4 years ago. And I was wondering if it was by that, because I know I looked into those horses at that time, but I never made a video. I mentioned the Cerne Abbas Giant in an Ancient History News video maybe a couple months back, but I guess he got kind of vandalized in recent days. Here is the Cerne Abbas Giant today. You notice the enclosure up on top here, but this is made in kind of the same way as those horses. But as I said in my Ancient History News video, he's definitely glad to be here. But I thought I'd go down there, check out those horses again, see what else I could see. And you can tell here, I found a few other things in the area. Here is what they call the Uffington White Horse. It sits up on a hillside here. See the general location here, facing west up on a hill. Probably can be seen for miles around. Little bit of controversy what this actually represents, but through history it's been called a horse. Is this a horse depicted up here? Well, through historical documents, that's certainly what it is called. Other people say maybe a dog or a saber-toothed cat or maybe a dragon, but a horse seems the most likely candidate. Here's a view from the hillside, and I guess if this was kind of left untouched, it would just kind of gradually be covered up by earth processes. So people for as long as maybe 3,400 years have been maintaining this art up on the hillside here. Here's a look up close at the figure, the crushed rock here. This is about 110 meters long, almost 350 feet long. Here it sits up on the hillside. And these trenches that the rock sits in are about a meter deep, 3 feet deep. So a lot of time and effort went into this. Pretty important to whoever made this, whenever they did. This thing has been written about for the last centuries. Here is a writing from 1911 from G.K. Chesterton, The Ballad of the White Horse. Before the gods that made the gods had seen their sunrise pass, the white horse of the White Horse Vale was cut out of the grass. Writing from 1736 tells us how every 7 years there was a ceremony scouring this artwork up on the hill, this horse. It says, a ceremony of scouring the horse from time immemorial has been solemnized by numerous concourse of people from all the villages round about. After the work was done, a rural festival was held by and sponsored by the lord of the manor. There was stuff found near the head that was dated to about 3,300 years ago, but the date on this horse is still kind of a question mark. There is a book from about 1400 which translate, near to the town of Abington there is a mountain with the figure of a stallion upon it, and it is white, and nothing grows upon it. Now, when I looked at this, there was no solar alignments that really jumped out at me, but I thought this was interesting. Joshua Pollard points to the horse's alignment with the sun, particularly in the midwinter when the sun appears to overtake the horse, to indicate this was created as a depiction of a solar horse, reflecting mythological beliefs that the sun was carried across the sky on a horse or a chariot. Now let's just look around the area for some ruins here. Some of these are identified, and some of them I just haven't taken the time to look into what these are called. This is Uffington Castle up here, the foundation of it, or some marker, I believe, is right down here. That's what it looks like up here. But this is just a massive, not a circular enclosure, just an earthwork enclosure with a ditch up here, right up from the horse itself, right here. But I wonder if Uffington Castle wasn't built near something more ancient. I believe this is called Dragon Hill up here. These features down here are called giant staircase. They are probably made when the Ice Age glaciers melted, a natural feature, but they are called giant staircase right there. This general area, I found a lot of stuff. Some stuff I'm just a little confused by. But in the area here, I found a lot of this stuff right here. Just circles that appear to be made out of that same crushed rock. See one of them right there? That isn't the only place I found those. Let's see, what else did I find here? I call this the tree fort just because it appears to be like the ancient henge enclosure at Uffington Castle. But this is just covered with trees, you see here. Kind of see the outline of it here. That is just kind of covered up today. Pretty sure that is an ancient fort up here. And if we just go north of the horse just a little bit, in this field out here, something is very visible. The remains of an ancient fort out here, or henge, enclosure. You can see it perfectly there. When stuff is right underneath the soil, it causes stuff not to grow in the same way, but you can clearly see an enclosure right there. Here is another spot where just stuff looks weird right under the surface. Hints that there was something ancient here, people living here before these got turned into farmers' fields. Just north and east of the horse, I noticed this right here. This is kind of fading away, but you notice right up here and then down here, is this a massive henge, about 750, 800 meters across? One side right there, another one right down here. See that? Right there. And then it matches on this side, right up here. I'm wondering. That's a possibility right there. Here's another area that just looks strange. The darker colors here, kind of forming a shape. Was there something ancient there in the distant past? That is a possibility right there. If you have any names for some of these places that I haven't named, please leave them. I know local knowledge is always key to some of these places. What I call the big enclosure right here, that does not look natural at all. And then just right by that, we have another one of these circles made out of the crushed stone. It looks like right there. And then this feature, no clue what that is right there. Seems to have stuff growing on it and perfectly aligned. Is that coming off towards some sort of alignment? Is that just a natural feature? I don't know what that is. Those features I just showed you were southeast of the horse, but here is another area. I call this quarter-mile fort here. Seems to be a quarter-mile wide enclosure with the ditches. Just what that appears like to me right there. Right down here on Google Earth at this structure, you can tell here the ancient berm around this area here, quarter of a mile wide. That is a very impressive ancient structure. Not sure what they call this right here, but I call it quarter-mile fort. I clicked on a pickup here. They call this Liddington Castle, Southern Ditch, Liddington. That'll give you an idea of the ditch and the berm up here. Let's see what else we can see out here. I think just to the east here, yeah, this is where it is. Hagbourne. This is the city of Didcot right here. There's a little area southeast of town right up here, wooded area. And in the middle of that wooded area, there's what they call the Hagbourne Stone Circle up here. You can see it perfectly from overhead. This looks very, very ancient. Here is what sits on top of what they say is Didcot's Holy Hill, a very ancient stone circle, and I had never heard of this until last night. There is a look at the Uffington Horse. Items found here could date back possibly as old as 1400 BC. That is a video on the Uffington White Horse. This is a great place to look around on Google Earth. Just start at the Uffington White Horse and just make your way out. You'll find a lot of stuff. Seems there's a circle right there. But I haven't really looked extensively in the UK for things, and glad I did. There's a lot of stuff to be seen right underneath the ground here. Evident by that right there. Just kind of fading out into history there. Great place to explore on Google Earth. The Uffington White Horse, probably made by the same people in the same way they made the Cerne Abbas Giant. Might have another video coming from this area of the world a little later. Hope you thought that was cool, and you all have a very safe day.